Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about Dubsado versus QuickBooks, so let's dive in. Hi, I'm Lainey. I'm a wedding invitation designer and I love to teach people how to run successful, profitable businesses. A big part of that is knowing your numbers and managing all of your projects. So Dubsado can come in handy in managing all your projects, and then QuickBooks is really helpful in managing your numbers. It's an accounting software. So I'm going to talk about the differences and why you may or may not need both or one or the other. So first and foremost, if you decide to use Dubsado or QuickBooks, I have discount codes for both. You can get 30% off your first month or year with Dubsado, and then 50% off your first subscription with QuickBooks if you use the links in the description of this video. I have more information specifically on Dubsado on this playlist, just tons of videos about all the different features. So something that Dubsado can do is manage all of your projects, and then within each project, you can do a lot of things such as invoicing. You can have your contracts in here, get the contract signed. You can accept payments in here. You can use forms like a sample design proof or an intake questionnaire. So you can keep all that information in one place. As an invitation designer, I have so much information about my clients, so I always make sure to have a ton of questionnaires. You can schedule appointments. Workflows are automating all of those things, and I have some other videos on this to dive further into it, and then you can have tasks and notes on each job as well. Other things you can do is just managing your calendar, tasks, and setting up templates, for instance, those sample questionnaire forms, contract forms, etc. And then some things like have time tracking in your dress book in here as well. So Dubsado can just do a lot of things, and its main focus is project management. It does have some reporting capabilities, whereas QuickBooks, on the other hand, is only going to be for accounting. So you can run your payroll there. You can keep track of all of your different accounts. You can keep track of expenses and payments. You can send invoices. You can do a little bit of like inventory management and different products that you have. You can upload them as packages and things. So it's all going to be kind of money focused there in QuickBooks, whereas Dubsado is going to have a few different things that you can do. So if you have outside things like questionnaires, contracts, etc., then Dubsado is going to be a really good fit for you. Some people say, can you use the reporting features in Dubsado as your accounting features? To that, I would say, kind of, maybe. So I'll show you in Dubsado what you get as far as reporting. So your reports, you have income, expenses, net profit, and sales here. You'll have a chart of accounts with all of your different accounts, and you can add different categories and expenses and things like that. You'll have transactions, which is just going to show every transaction, and then all of your invoices, which will show all here and where they're at, and then your project breakdown and project sources. So this is going to give you a little more information about the overall health and where your good projects are coming from, how they're changing over the last year, 3 months, etc. And then sources is like which projects you got from Instagram, which you got from a wedding planner, which you got from word of mouth. All of those things can be tracked here. So you'll be able to see which sources are most profitable, etc. So these are good reporting features. And I think if you only accept payments in Dubsado and nowhere else, then you have basically everything you need to maintain the health of your business financially, as well as pay your taxes correctly. You're going to have all that information here. The one thing though is that when you get into like your expenses and everything, if I were to log an expense, I'm going to have to do that manually. So every time I spend on anything, I'm going to have to add an expense manually and tag it to whatever job it's on and categorize it, etc. And it's not to say you don't have to categorize things in QuickBooks, but in real accounting softwares such as QuickBooks, Xero, Moo, some of these other larger accounting softwares that have that as a focus, you can actually connect your account and it's going to pull all of those expenses and transactions into them automatically. So I'm just going to show you kind of a blurred out version of my QuickBooks because I don't want to show you all of this information. So in QuickBooks, you can see all the different accounts that I have connected, like credit cards, checking accounts, PayPal, etc. All of that's going to be fully connected here in QuickBooks, and anytime there's a transaction into or out of any of those accounts, it's going to show up here. So every time I do something with my credit card, it's going to show up here, and then when I pay the credit card from the checking account, it's going to come out of the checking account here as well, and we'll be able to match those payments. So all of those payments are going to come in here automatically. And if you are only accepting payments over in Dubsado, then it's not so hard to manually do those things. But if you're accepting payments also on Etsy, from credit card, from word of mouth, from all these different places, then it's going to be a lot easier to use a software that can allow for all of that, such as QuickBooks. So then, as you can see, every expense is going to pull in here for each account, and you can just really quickly and easily categorize it. You can also set up rules so that like everything coming in from Cordial is going to categorize in the same place automatically, or everything coming in from Minted, etc. So there are a lot of things you can do here, and it's going to pull from all of your different accounts and all the different places that you are spending and receiving money. So none of this is to say that you can't use the reporting features in Dubsado to still get some really valuable information about your business. And if you are only accepting payments in Dubsado and that's the only place any of your clients are paying you, then this is going to be a lot more powerful. But if you're like me and you have money coming in and going out from a lot of different places, then I would recommend having an accounting software as well. QuickBooks is also really powerful because it's kind of the standard. So if you have an accountant or a bookkeeper, they're going to really appreciate QuickBooks, and they're going to understand how to use it a lot better than they will with other systems, especially something like Dubsado that's not known in the accounting world. Now, one thing you can do is actually integrate your Dubsado with your QuickBooks. So if you go into your settings and then you click integrations, you have QuickBooks as well as Xero. A lot of my thoughts on Xero are very similar to my thoughts on QuickBooks. QuickBooks is going to be just a little bit more popular with accountants, but Xero is pretty prevalent as well these days. So it's a great one as well, and has a lot of the same features as QuickBooks. So kind of take those two together. So you can integrate with QuickBooks. One thing about Dubsado is they're only accepting payments right now through Stripe, Square, PayPal, or ACH. They are adding Dubsado Payments soon, which is going to be its own payment processor in Dubsado, and that will make this integration a little more seamless. But what happens right now is, so I accept payments through Stripe, and so if I charge my client $100, then if I integrate this with QuickBooks, then my QuickBooks is going to show the invoice for $100. Then Stripe's going to take out 3%-ish. So let's say $3. And then they're going to show a $97 payment coming into my QuickBooks. So that's going to be a little confusing because it's going to be harder to match those up, and you'll have to kind of manually do those. So I don't personally have my QuickBooks attached to my Dubsado account. It's attached to my Stripe account. We still have that same issue, but it's basically the same information that we would get if we integrated the QuickBooks and Dubsado together. So my bookkeeper goes in like once a quarter and bookkeeps the Stripe fees from Stripe, and they don't have to do that again with Dubsado, which they probably would if we also had that integrated. So you can absolutely do it. And once Dubsado Payments comes through, it's going to take out that fee before going anywhere, sending the invoice to QuickBooks. So that's going to be a little bit more helpful and a little bit more seamless of a transaction. So I hope this kind of helped explain the difference between Dubsado and QuickBooks. I know I didn't show you as much internally with QuickBooks, and there are a ton of other videos out there that you can watch on that. I do have a code that will get you 50% off your first QuickBooks payment, as well as 30% off your first Dubsado payment. If you want to check those out in the description of this video. And I have a lot more information on Dubsado as far as invoicing, workflows, project management, getting started, all the things that you might want to know here on my channel and on this playlist specifically. Thanks, everyone.